Testing 1, 2.
Are you kind of hot?
Check 1, 2.
Check. Kind of seems like there's a somber attitude here tonight, and it's time for us to laugh.
Tell a joke.
Tell it to me now.
It's on.
I'm making a
Testing 1, 2.
joke.
Tell a joke.
Testing 1, 2. How do you do a little more here? Testing 1, 2. Like this. Testing 1, 2. All right, well, let's all stand up and let's just enter in and let God do what He wants to do tonight. Can we do that? Just, I still need a little more volume on mine.
It's really bassy. If you could turn up the treble a little bit.
Testing. Okay, testing 1, 2. That's good. And then the bass needs to be turned up just a little bit more. Maybe a little more.
We keep on doing it, Andrew.
There we go. That's good.
Who breaks the power of sin? still raining. As the thunder rolls, I barely hear you whisper through the rain. I'm with you. Magic birds falls. I raise my hands to raise the God who gives and takes away. And I'll praise you in this song. I'll lift my hands. You are who you are. No matter where I am, every tear I've cried, you hold in your hands. You never left my side. Though my heart is torn, praise you in this song. When you my cry, raise me up again. The strength is almost gone. Can I carry on if I can't find you? And as the thunder rolls, I barely hear you whisper through the rain. I'm with you. And as your virtue falls, I raise my hand, praise the God who gives
draws my heart to change, and one side of you lays my sins to waste. I don't need to see everything, just more of you. Take it all away.
Magnify your other name. Open up my eyes to you. Take it all away. Magnify your other name. Open up my eyes to you.
My sight is incomplete, and I make you look small. I've been staring at my problems for way too long. Realign where my hope is set, until you're all that's left. But just a glimpse draws my heart to change, and one side of you lays my sin to waste. I don't need to see everything, no, just more of you. Take it all away. Magnify no other name. Open up my eyes to you. Take it all away. Magnify no other name. Open up my eyes to you. I'll be greater than the worries in my mind. Be stronger than the weakness in my mind. Be louder, let your glory come alive. Be magnified. Gotta be greater than the worries in my life. Be stronger than the weakness in my mind. Be louder, let your glory come alive. Be magnified. Take it all away. Magnify no other name. Open up my eyes to you. Take it all away. Magnify no other name. Open up my eyes to you.
You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear.
we're going to go ahead and take a moment, and for those of you in here who have not received Christ, or maybe you have and it's just been a while and life's busyness gets in the way, the Lord is here. And that song is very powerful because in God's word it says that where there's perfect love, there can be no fear. God's perfect love casts out all fear. We have no need to be fearful about what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen years down the road, or even what's happening right now. The Lord is with us. And if we love Him and He is our Father, there's no need for fear. There's no need to fear circumstances or anything like that. He's got us. So if you've never felt that kind of peace before that can come from Him, you're really missing out. He's all about peace. He wants to bring peace in situations that seem so desperate. So many things happened this week, and the thing in Las Vegas, and just kind of like a weight over us right now. But the Lord knows exactly what's happening. He didn't just turn a blind eye and say, well, we'll just let this go. God knows exactly what happened. And He doesn't hold that over us. Like, well, this is what I can do if you don't do what I ask you to do. That's not who God is at all. So if you're seeing God as that, that's something that needs to be renewed in your mind, because He's not like a vengeful God, like gonna lash out at you if you do something wrong. That's totally not Him. He's like the parent, like the mom who the little kid has messed up and has broken something and comes and the child comes to you and you're like, you really want to just scream at them and be like, what, how could you do this? But they're just bawling their eyes out. And you just grab them and you say, you know what, it's okay, it was an accident. That's how the Lord is. He's not like, yeah, I'm going to throw down the hammer on you because you didn't listen to what I said. That's not Him. So if you need a fresh perspective tonight, which I think we all could use, honestly, let's just say this prayer after me and just really let the Lord in. Let Him guide what you're thinking, what you're doing, what you're saying. That's the kind of relationship you should have with Him. So just repeat after me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for your sacrifice, for sending your Son to die on the cross for my sins, for my shame, for my guilt, for my pain. Lord, thank you so that this fallen world could have love, you could have peace. Lord, I receive you today. I receive your plans for my life. And I will do my very best to listen to you, to follow you in all of my ways. In Jesus' precious name. Amen. Amen.
Thrown in the Father's love, destined to die, poured out for all mankind. God's only Son, perfect and spotless one. He never sinned, but suffered as if He did.
Every victory
That was good. So, no, it was great. I'm just kidding. Now it's part of the evening where we take up the offering, right, Daddy? It's an opportunity to give back to Potter's house, ministry here, that clothes, food, Patty's car payment, all that stuff. So we're going to pass these baskets, but we do that as go to the Lord in prayer and ask Him to bless this offering. Father, we come before you this evening. We're grateful to be here. We're grateful you have preserved us and kept us safe, Father. Thank you for the privilege to be clean and sober today, God. And we thank you for the place you put us and the people you put in our lives, God, that are inspiring us and helping us to grow in you, Father, and to continue on this road that we've started. Father, we thank you for the courage you've given each person in here to persevere and continue through what I'm sure at times doesn't necessarily feel like it's worth it. But God, you know it is. As our Creator, God, we know you have a plan for us, God. And Father, we pray that you take this offering this evening and that you bless it, God, and it would be used to further your kingdom's work here on earth. God, and you bless each person here, those who can give and those who can't. It's in your precious name we pray. Amen.
We didn't start it before the service. We forgot.
No, it's hard to do it.
All the way turned up.
I was filled with rejection, always seeking love.
I was a pothead. After Vietnam, I struggled with hatred and depression.
I was a drug dealer addicted to ecstasy.
I lacked self-confidence.
I was selfish.
I allowed addiction and death to rule my life.
I struggled with loneliness, so I turned to sex.
I allowed people's opinions of my personal appearance to keep me alone.
I was once depressed. I was filled with grief.
Institutions, jail, and death were my destiny.
I was a slave to sex and alcohol.
I was suicidal.
I was judgmental.
I struggled with an addiction to nicotine.
I lost my job of 20 years.
I was afraid.
I know who I am in Christ. I overcome.
When I found Jesus, I found life. I have overcome.
He's given me beauty for ashes. I've overcome. Through Christ, I have found my joy. I've overcome.
Christ has made me pure, so I have overcome.
Christ came to set the captives free. I have overcome.
I've been set free by God's grace. I have overcome.
I found my true love in Christ. I've overcome.
Through Christ, I found courage. I've overcome.
It wasn't until I found Christ and I realized that His opinion is the only one that mattered. I've overcome.
Because of Christ's strength and patience, I've overcome.
But I'm done giving my life. Now I've overcome. But through Christ, I persevered. I've overcome.
I allow Christ to remove my chains. I have overcome. I put others first. I have overcome.
I'm high on Jesus. I have overcome.
Now I need the judgment of God. I have overcome.
Now I'm filled with God's love, and I have overcome.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. We're trying to, oh yeah, you can hear me, can't you? Really well. Well, hi, my name is Bridget, and I've been clean for 36 years. I always like to kind of open with that to let you know what we're teaching here is coming from not just somebody up here behind the pulpit saying, this is what you need to do. This is how you get clean. This is how you stay sober. You know, we're saying this because we lived it. We're still living it out. Even though, you know, you have one addiction, you get clean, you know, like David was saying a couple of weeks ago, 28 days, okay, you don't have any drugs, but then you have to go out in the real world. Then it's like, no, I know I need to stay away from that. But then there's something else that comes up that becomes an addiction. There's something else because there's something inside that is, you're empty. You're trying to get that filled up. And for me, 36 years, for Pastor John, 35 years, for Pastor Matt, who was serving tonight, 30 years. We all came from a life of drugs and addiction. So what we're saying to you, you can do it. You can overcome. Now, you know, I do believe in the 12 steps. I never really worked the 12 steps. Rehab back then in the 80s was something, it was there, you just really had NA. I even doubt that NA was around back then. But when you look at the 12 steps today, it's like, yeah, you know, you look at the biblical principles and then you look, how can I walk this recovery thing out? It does take, you know, it does take that. And every day to look at those, I do. I even glance at them now because we do teach them, but it's like, you know, I had to come to that realization. I'm not in control. This, you know, cocaine in my life was in control. But what we have been going through, because, you know, again, once you get clean, once you kind of get back out there in the mainstream of life, you have to deal with the stuff that's still inside. You might be clean, but you're still empty. And we've been going through the rejection mindset. It's by markdejesus.com, and I don't have a slide up there, but if you really are serious about this life of recovery, I guarantee, buy that book and really work it out with your 12 steps. And you cannot do it alone. How many of you have really tried to say, I can drop this, I don't need addiction, you know, I don't need this drug, and then, I mean, and you don't have any support? What do? You go back into it. So I really encourage that book to get that. But the last song that we sang was Overcome. You know, as addicts, we do have to overcome a lot. Not only our addiction, but overcome just those things that put us in a tailspin. And what does it take to be an overcomer? And I like this dictionary. Well, there's several definitions of overcoming, or what an overcomer is. Webster defines an overcomer as a person who overcomes something, one who succeeds in dealing with or gaining control of some problem or difficulty. And then the Urban Dictionary, which I really think this is a fascinating dictionary because it's not like what they say, it's what people kind of comment on this word, and they write in and say, this is what this means to me. And the first one that said, and it was a Journal Consensus that says, an overcomer is a warrior, someone who battles no matter what the task is ahead, someone that is not only regains strength from his or her weakness, but also sees life in a way that no others can. The biblical dictionary of an overcomer, I think this is really interesting. Jesus uses this term a lot, especially in Revelation. He talks about the one verse in that song, you will overcome by the blood of the Lamb, which is his blood that was shed for us for his sins, and the word of your testimony. Now, I know some of you, the word testimony, how many of you know what that word means? You know, only if you were raised in church do you really know what that means. It means that I'm standing here today and I can share with you my testimony, which is what I have overcome, how I overcame my addiction to cocaine. That's what a testimony is. So that's what he was saying. We will overcome by the word of our testimony. So I'm sharing with you that you can overcome that. But it also goes on in 1 John 5:4 says, "For whatever is born of God overcomes the world, and this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith." Who is the one who overcomes the world? That who believes in Jesus Christ is the Son of God. An overcomer is not sinless, but holds fast to the faith in Jesus Christ until the end. He does not turn away when times are difficult. Overcoming requires complete dependence upon God for direction, purpose, fulfillment, strength to follow his plan for our lives. As I was sharing earlier, between us three, Pastor Matt, Pastor John, and myself, we have 101 years of sobriety, only because of Jesus Christ. You know, I tried and I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself, that I probably would have 38 years clean, but I mean, I relapsed. No, I thought cocaine, I'll lay that down, but I was still addicted to smoking pot and doing pills. You know, where was my life going? Nowhere. Fast. Until that moment, I said, you know, I'm not gaining any traction here. I'm still in the same place I was even when I was addicted to cocaine. And I fell on my knees. I started praying. I was raised in church, so I kind of knew better. And then it was like, Lord, take this from me. I surrender it. I'm not in control. I'm out of control with this addiction. And he did, and I'm clean and sober today, 37 years later. So that's what not only do we preach it, we teach it because we lived it. And I just want to encourage you ladies, yes, you're in a great program at BBI, but when you leave, really get serious with your walk with the Lord, because he does have that abundant life for you. He does want to fulfill dreams and purposes that each and one of you have. I mean, and that's what drugs and the enemy want to take away from you. I mean, you're not here just to fill up space. And with that, when you fall on your knees, and it's like, I needed purpose in my life. I don't know about you. I was young. Most of you, again, when I say 36 years, a lot of you are way under 36 years of age. Even Matt back there, you know. A lot of you could be my daughters and my son. But the one scripture that I held on to was Proverbs 3:5-6. And even today when I kind of encounter some stuff, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. And he has mine. I found this interesting too. The Greek word that is most translated as an overcomer stems from the word Nike. Now, I know Nike was a goddess back in the Greek realm, but it also means to carry off the victory. That's what it takes to be an overcomer, is you can carry off this victory. And what are the traits of the overcomer? And that's kind of what really is the main focus tonight, what I kind of want to share with you. And there's only 5 of them, so it's not, you don't have to have, education or it's not really a high level of intelligence. Really, all it takes is commitment on your part. Because as you know, no one could walk out my recovery. No one could deal with my addiction the way only I could deal with my addiction. And you guys, I know I'm preaching to the choir, as they say, so you know all this. But the first thing, I have to show my cute little slide up here, sorry. Okay, without these traits, you will continually cycle in the same problem like a hamster going around and around, going nowhere. I mean, all of us have been there. You will be stuck at all times and you will never see change. Overcomers, and I have found this in a lot of addicts, if I can say that. I think us being addicts, we're very passionate people. I think we're very creative people, and I think that's why the enemy loves to come and really kind of steal our identity on who we are, to be creative, to be, having that purpose, have that sense of belonging, and to have that passion. I mean, I know I was passionate about getting my drugs. Yeah, really. But overcomers have a deep passion to change. You have to have that to change. No one can want transformation more than you do. Overcomers do not rely on someone to give them a sense of passion. Instead, they have made a decision to stir it up deep within. I know for me, again, as I was young and addicted, I had no direction. I was just looking for the next party, for the next, who has what kind of drug, where can I go to get in. But then, I was 22 at the time. But after a few months, and then this is when I really laid everything down, I had a sense of direction. I got down on my knees and said, Lord, give me your purpose for my life. What do you want from me? And when I was doing drugs, I was in college, didn't have great grades whatsoever. It's a wonder that they didn't kick me out. But, I dropped out. And then it's like, he said, I want you to go back to school. It's like, okay, well, I have to kind of go and reapply my transcripts. Well, it's not really, I don't even know if I can get into a community college. But I did. I got into University of Houston, and that semester I graduated with honors and made the dean's list. Because I had focus. God had given me his plan for my life. And I said, I'm going to do this. And then, really the world is your place where you can go and do what he's called you to do. How many of you have dreams or have that something inside of you that in some ways it's your talent that you have, but it's something that you know that you haven't fulfilled that yet? How many of you have that deep down inside? I know. Dreams inspire us, but I heard once, dreams inspire us, but goals, us setting a goal, that stretches us to meet that goal. That will lead you to your dream fulfilled. Passion is contagious, but you cannot, I can stand up here and be passionate about something, but I can't really get you passionate. You have to stir that up within, and you have to go with God and say, I want this back. Make the change in me. And then also, passion is also will remain, and I will guarantee this, it will remain when you come up to every difficulty, every setback. Just remember, even Paul is telling Timothy, stir up that passion that that the Lord put inside of you many years ago. Number 2, overcomers will do whatever it takes. And again, I know you hear this probably in your meetings, and if you're not all in, where are you going to go? If you're not really saying, this is it, I'm done, I want to get on with my life, and I want to have a better life than I had for myself and for my kids, are you going to, is anything going to change? No, it's not. You have to be all in. Again, and I know some of you, we see you again, and I'm, we're kind of going back to, I gave up one drug, I relapsed. And sometimes, every time that we see another face, yeah, they might have come back for a second and third time, but each time they're kind of getting their foothold. They're kind of saying, okay, that, yeah, I can't control that, but then this tripped me up. Now I understand that. I understand that that tripped me up. And so it's not, don't beat yourself up if you say, okay, I'm all in now, but then tomorrow you screw up. Don't be discouraged. Just kind of get up and go again. James 1:2. And this is what, when you're all in and you kind of mess up or some difficulties come away, it says, my brethren, count it on joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith will produce patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. Life is full of, you walk out this door, there's a lot of drama going on, there's going to be somebody getting in your face, there's going to be somebody who just looked at you crosswise and just, you took offense to that. That's going to happen. But if you have been on your knees and you have sought God and He has a purpose and a plan, He wants to strengthen you. He wants to, I've heard so many times that a person kind of say today they won the lottery. But if they haven't handled money in the past, they're going to lose it tomorrow. That's what it takes to be an overcomer. You have to face difficulties to overcome each one that comes along. Overcomers are humble and are meek. The first two traits clear out many people who lack passion and that do not have the all-in attitude. Yet, if you don't have a humble heart, you won't receive what you need to move forward. And growth in the kingdom, and I kind of base this on Christianity 101, not just recovery, not just trying to, walk yourself, in a recovery from addiction, but really walking out your Christian belief in who God is and who He is in your life. And first of all, you cannot be defensive. I mean, I have heard so many people in the past, you would come up to them and say, there's something, and they just put up you're not open to any, not correction, not criticism, but just say, hey, I can see this from a third point of view. It's you, yourself, and I can kind of see this. It's just a little, just to help, but you have to be open to receive from those that you trust. And like your counselor or a sponsor, and we always encourage a sponsor. And if you pray for a sponsor, when you leave here, God will provide that. And again, recovery is not just a lone path. It's other people walking with you. I came across some people in my path that were my spiritual sister, my spiritual mom, who helped me in my walk of recovery and really 101 Christianity. You have to be willing to be vulnerable. And that's really with only those people that you can trust. It's not everyone. You kind of put some stuff out there, and how many people have come and kind of just, exposed, your truth or something that you shared with them. Just be careful and again, pray for that sponsor that you can really, you can share your deep, dark secrets with. And then let God have permission to deal with your heart, any area of your heart, the good, the bad, the ugly. Let Him have that. And I like this word on meekness. Now, I know when I first heard the word meekness, it was basically, I equated that with weakness, being fearful, being timid, but actually the biblical meaning of meekness is great power and strength under control. And the next slide is, there is this secretariat. In 1973, became the first Triple Crown winner in 25 years. This is really the emblem of meekness. This is a racehorse under control of a little tiny jockey and just a bridle in its mouth. I mean, talking about this, in fact, when they did an autopsy on this horse, that His heart weighed 22 pounds. The normal heart for a horse is 8.5 pounds. He had a big heart. True humility is a posture of the heart that can recognize your need to learn and grow, and that you are not beyond needing help, and help is not going to arrive on your time. The fourth one, overcomers are teachable, like I was saying earlier, not to be defensive, but to be open to, be taught. I know, every 15-year-old knows so much more than I do. I was 15 years old and I knew so much more than my parents did. Yeah, right. So it has to be, you have to be teachable. And again, I know you girls, when we're about to do some baptisms tonight, and I love when we do baptisms, because when you get up there, you girls say, you showed me this. You know what I loved about you? You showed me this. I could share my deep, dark secrets with you. I love you. That's, you girls really, you do kind of open yourself up in this, in this framework, and you teach one another. And it's so cool to see that. But an overcomer is teachable. So, in some ways you're already there in that area. And the last one, overcomers take action. Mark DeJesus often calls people to a decision. And in this atmosphere, he will ask, what next steps do you need to take right now? And that's what I'm asking you. What steps do you need to take right now to overcome? Not maybe your addiction, maybe that's a bigger picture, but right now, what are those things that are facing you right now that you can make a decision on, that you can take an action step on? I love what James 2:26 says. And it says, the very moment you separate body and spirit, you end up with a corpse. Separate faith and works, and you get the same thing, a corpse, which basically is a dead thing. And many times I've had to ask the Lord, give me faith so I can put this next action step into action, and He will. I want to show you the next slide. I don't know if you can see that little tiny thing in there. That little tiny, that's a mustard seed. And Matthew 17:20 says, Jesus said to them, because of your unbelief, for assuredly I say to you, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, and you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. Now, if you have received Jesus into your heart and into your life, you've already taken that next step. For me, thinking about Jesus, who is not flesh and, is not a tangible object, it really takes great faith to receive Him. But if you can take that faith not only in Him, and take that just a little step of faith, saying on your knees and in prayer for the next direction, to be an overcomer, He wants to do that in your life. And it doesn't take, what does John say, brain surgery, rocket science? No, you reverse the two. You reverse two. Rocket surgery and brain science. That's it. Anyway, I'm just kidding. You want more than the little hamster, don't you? Say goodbye to the hamster wheel. All right, I think we're going to have some baptisms, but I want to pray first. Father, I just thank you. Again, we just thank you and praise you for every person that has walked through these doors. Every person, we might not know their name or where they come from, but Father, you do, and you have a purpose and a plan for them, for their life. And Father, you want to set them free. You want to give them that abundant life that you have promised them. Father, I pray for the ladies and the gentlemen here tonight. Father, that you would put that passion within them, and you would make their path straight and clear, give them clarity on that next step for them. and to not only overcome their addiction, but to overcome what the enemy has purposed for them, to destroy them, to kill them. Father, open their ears to hear your love, your truth from the Holy Spirit, and the direction that you have for them. In the name of Jesus, amen. Amen. Okay, the ladies who are going to be baptized, are you all ready to see Patty? Do y'all have clothes? And yes, no? I have clothes. You have clothes. Okay, great.
I'm awake now.